Everyone give Queen Tassili a hand for letting this happen today. I always like to give thanks because for allowing people like myself to come and share our information, because all over the country some people are not allowed to share. Do y'all know good information is hard to find? Do y'all know good information can heal you as well? Do you know that bad information can create dis-ease? If someone called, like right now, we got a lot of bad information happening, a lot of dis-ease, like rent going up. Don't that stress you out when your landlord say, we're gonna raise the rent next month? That really bothers people, right? I got a lot of people who's going to the doctor and all these different places and don't realize what's wrong. And it's all because of the rent going up. You know, things like that, people moving further away. So I wanted to talk about that. You know, good information can heal you. I see a lot of people spending a lot of money trying to heal themselves, but what it really is they need some good information about some real estate. How about that, y'all? So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And by the way, I also wanted to give a shout out because I was Dr. Sabi's personal finance coach. And I wasn't gonna say anything, but the brother in the back had a jacket on. He said, heroes grow heroes. How about that, y'all? So Dr. Sabi, when he saw some things that I did when I was trying to help the community, he said, I want to teach you a few things, and I want you to go around the country and teach the world what you know. So he made me who I am today about being in front of you guys today. So let's give him another hand clap. So whenever you guys do something amazing, pull someone in and start teaching them so that they can continue to work. We should not bury someone without their work continuing. So I want to talk about bad things happening in real estate, which is creating a lot of dis-ease around here. Let's talk about some solutions, y'all. Y'all okay with solutions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I traveled around the country. I did 15 states before I wrote my book, Monetizing Gentrification, because gentrification is sent to wipe out African American communities around the country. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah.
So this is a strategic plan to where they want to remove home ownership for African Americans clear across America. So some things that I see going on, I want to talk about it. Like for example, you know that we can go get a loan and buy a $50,000 Dodge Charger, right? $48,000 Mercedes with no problems. But we can't go buy a house. We can't get a loan for a $32,000 house, right? Y'all notice that? So it's a lot of things like that we got to start learning about. So I wanted to talk about that. Banks don't finance houses below $50,000. They don't finance land below $100,000. But there's something they don't want us to know about. Y'all ever heard about owner will carry? Okay, y'all exhale with this one. You go on Craigslist, Facebook, all those places, type in the word owner financing. Whenever the bank won't finance something, people like me and people like you who own something outright will say, okay, well, I want $30,000 for this little house in Macon, Georgia, and I'm willing to carry the paper for you. You bring me $1,000 down and $500 a month, and you can have this house. Don't worry about credit. Did y'all hear what I said? Anybody feel a little bit better after hearing that? Okay, so can I continue? Okay, so I also see there is a strategy to where they don't even want us renting in certain areas. So how about we stop calling when we're looking in Craigslist and all these different places for a rental property, stay away from phone numbers that say 1-800. Y'all hear me? Those are large corporations have picked up all the rental spots around the country and they're controlling who rents what. And they're saying people that look like us, you shall not be able to rent anything. Have y'all know anybody experiencing that? Look for local phone numbers and listen for a familiar voice and ask them. And then people say, TJ, I have bad credit. I cannot rent anything. People keep saying my credit is bad. Why don't you call a regular local phone number that you recognize and ask them, do they have sliding scale? Has anyone ever heard of that before? A sliding, for those of you who haven't, a sliding scale is when they say, okay, if you have an 800 and up FICO score, you move in here 0 down. If you have a 750 to 800, you put $500 down. But if you have a 400 to 650, you owe $3,000 down. Does that make sense, y'all?
Yes, sir.
So if they have a sliding scale, you just go in and say, hey, I had a few problems in the past, my credit is a 385. They're gonna say, well, if you can pay $3,000 a month, $3,000 deposit to move in, I will let you have this place. Does that make sense to y'all? The rent may be $1,500 a month. You should offer, well, I can put down 2 months in advance. That'll make a landlord feel a little bit more better about you coming in their property. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you cannot afford to live in the West End, you can move a little further out, and the rules change when it comes down to buying houses or renting houses. Anybody, y'all know that? When an area becomes high end and you have gentrification going on, all the rules change. You don't qualify to purchase here. You're not making enough money, your credit's not good. But if you fall back to LaGrange, Macon, places like that, smaller cities, everything's changed. They're like, please come out here. We have a loan. We have special financing. We have different type of loans for people who have a 385. And we got to stay away from, I see things talking about rent to own. How many of y'all seen that?
Yeah.
Stay away from that, because let's break down rent to own. Rent to own is when they say, okay, I'm gonna rent you this house, but you're gonna be buying it. So you're gonna pay $1,500 a month, which is market rent, right? Everybody wants $1,500. But then they turn around and say, since you're buying it, we're gonna put another $500 on top of that. Stay away from stuff like that, family, because they're not really helping you. Find owner financing or owner will carry, because mortgage is always cheaper than rent, y'all. Always. That's how you can tell if it's a fraud. Mortgage will always be cheaper than the rent. If you look up that area and it says market rent is $1,500, and this guy says, okay, well, this house here, owner carrying, is $300 or $550, that's the one you should look into. Now, of course, you're gonna pay a little bit more for that house, but guess what? He's gonna let you in and you're gonna own it. So, because real estate agents, because they don't want us to buy houses below $50,000, et cetera, or $100,000, that makes us have to go, when you go to buy a house, you say, hey, I want to buy a house. They say, let us run your credit. Then they say, oh, well, you don't qualify. You don't qualify because they don't want you buying anything in this area, and the going price in this area is $350, right? So they just straight up tell you, you don't qualify. So you got to look at them and say, well, I don't qualify to live in this area, but I have to qualify for something. How much do I qualify for? Most realtors don't want to tell you. They want you to go home, borrow money, tap into the 401k, etc., and pull more money out, but that's not what we want to do. We want to go somewhere and find people that will sell us the $32,000 house, the $16,000 house, because they're all over the country. I just know that we're not taught to look for those. If you go to a real estate agent and ask them, I'm looking to buy a house, what can I do? I work at the post office. They're gonna pull your credit, look at your finances, and say, oh, you only make, you qualify for $300,000. That don't mean you have to spend $300,000, family. Okay, thank you. You don't have to spend $300,000, family. Your real estate agent is gonna make sure you're looking at $300 and $310, right? But if they know it's one just like that needs a little work, a little paint, for $120, do you think they're gonna tell you about that?
No.
No. Let me tell you what a real estate agent's worst nightmare is.